Hi, welcome to Squeeze and the Shrimpf. He's the Shrimpf.
He's the Squeeze.
And we're here today to talk to you about motorcycles and danger. Specifically, how dangerous are motorcycles?
Very and not at all.
Very and not at all.
So now enough of the jokes about the thing already being done with a really quick answer. The reason I say very and not at all is they can be super dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
Or if you're throwing caution to the wind.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing and you're taking your precautions, you're being smart about how you approach any driven vehicle, they can be fairly safe. And then I'll bring up something at the end of it that's kind of an interesting way to think about safety.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, chances are you ride a motorcycle, or you want to ride a motorcycle, you're thinking about riding a motorcycle.
Or you ride a motorcycle and your parents / loved ones are concerned about you riding a motorcycle, and you send them this.
If you're any of those people and you vocalized that you're even thinking about a motorcycle, you've probably heard from many people how dangerous motorcycling is and that you shouldn't do it. And I heard plenty of that. I mean, even my business partner, I was like, I think I'm gonna buy a motorcycle, and he was like, oh my God, let's do your will and life insurance. And
to be fair, if you are looking at doing nothing in comparison to riding a motorcycle is more dangerous, period.
Yeah.
If you're looking at riding in a car in comparison to riding a motorcycle, it is more dangerous. If we just go on stats, and I'm not going to try and pull numbers out of my head, it just plain old is more dangerous. But a lot of those stats are inflated by people who are stupid AF.
Yeah, so you can do a couple of things. One, you can do largely your safety on your motorcycle is under your control, right? And I'll explain that. So there's kind of two different thoughts, right? So the first thought is how you ride will determine how dangerous motorcycling is in terms of like what your risk is for getting into an accident or a collision or, low siding or high siding.
Whatever the incident is, whether you call it an accident or not, it's still...
Motorcycling takes skill. There's a certain level of skill that you need to do things in a car that doesn't require that much skill because you have 4 patches of rubber on the ground.
And this balance thing isn't really as much of a question.
Correct, yeah. So with a motorcycle, there's certain things that you do that have like kind of a skill range, so there's going to be a particular corner, and to take that corner, the skill, it might be pretty low, but the faster you go, the higher the skill level becomes. So you need to take that corner at a speed that reflects where your current skill level is.
Not just skill level, but in like the fact of the corner, but you need to know yourself as a rider. Okay, I'm going to take this corner with a bit of speed. I know what this corner is because I just drove on it 3 hours ago, or I've never taken this corner before. I don't know if there's leaves on it.
Right. And knowing too, like your motorcycle, you might have 1,000 RR that's capable of cornering at high speeds, and you might have the skill for that. But remember that those high-speed corners, they're really made to do that at a track where the conditions are ideal and the track is manicured. So if you're taking twisties at high speeds in the mountains, you don't know. There might have been a gravel truck that went right by that corner, spilled gravel or sand or something on the pavement. There's
this great road up in Washington I love riding. It's Forest Route 25, the east side of Mount Hood. But there are so many roots growing underneath that road surface. You're constantly getting and losing traction on one of your wheels independent of the other as you go over these bumps around corners. While it is really fun to ride that road and it's a great twisty road, you're constantly going, am I going to lose traction? And then the other thing is okay, so there's a good sized rainstorm. That tree is now uprooted. That root that got pulled a little bit did push up the asphalt a little bit more. That road surface, especially between like one season and the next season, is never the same. And some of my scariest riding up north has been going over a road that I went over like a month before, and then a rainstorm had happened, and now all of a sudden I'm coming over a hill and I'm literally airborne on both tires going into a corner. That was stupid on my part, and it's doing stuff that's stupid like that that makes the danger so much higher.
Yeah.
But it is like, it is fun. Like it's fun.
It is fun. You just have to be aware of what your abilities are. And the other thing is I really implore all of you who ride motorcycles to every once in a while do a bit of an ego check, because your ego can get you into a lot of trouble on a motorcycle, whether it's keeping up with your buddy who might have a higher skill level than you,
or just like he's on new tires and yours are almost bald. Like
Yeah.
you could have the exact same bike, but just where your equipment at, or
yeah, or
X, Y, and Z,
headspace at the
yeah.
time even. you
Yeah.
know?
There's a
Maybe
lot-
you're just not having a good day and you're a little bit mentally distracted. Take it a little bit slower, you know?
There's a lot of variables in riding a bike, and the more of those that you can take care of by taking classes or in keeping up on your equipment and those things, the safer riding a bike gets.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of collisions that happen that get posted on YouTube or, wherever, and almost all of them I see as being like, not just like maybe avoidable, but 100% avoidable, because I'll see people where somebody starts coming over and, the guy in the car doesn't see you, he's not paying attention, they're on their phone, they're texting or whatever. And yeah, at the end of the day, he's in the wrong and he's a jerk for doing that. But being stubborn and not rolling off your throttle because
Yeah.
you're right and he's wrong and just laying on your horn is not the proper way to not get into a collision.
If you drive more defensively, you should always have not only an out, but an out for your out and a plan B, and constantly keeping those things in your head, so okay, that car merges over. I can apply my brake a little bit, and I know how close that guy behind me is going, or okay, that guy behind me is really on my tail. This guy comes over, I'm gonna goose it, take a little bit of that the side of the road, get around this problem and get away from these assholes, so that I'm not in danger. But having your plans already planned out, so as soon as something goes wrong, is super important. And that's one thing.
Yeah, you should always be scanning for escape routes.
Yeah,
always.
And that's something that the classes and spending time training yourself on your bike will help. And as much as we've kind of hammered take classes over this, the other number one thing that will make you much safer on your bike is don't drink anything that's not water.
More than 70% of motorcycle accidents and fatalities are because the motorcyclist was drinking.
Yeah,
over 70%.
Not even like you got hit by a drunk driver. No, the guy on two wheels.
Yeah. And so be realistic of how much time you need after you have a drink, and maybe don't drink as much, or just plan on not riding your bike home. Stay at your friend's house, take an Uber. It's really easy to not do all that. I don't want to sound like everybody's mother out there about it, but that's just the numbers. The numbers is most motorcycle accidents, by large, are the motorcyclist was inebriated.
Yeah. And the thing is on a bike, like, balance is so much more important. You can high side, low side, and that can turn into a really nasty wreck real quick. And that's just you on balance and a little bit on, like, okay, you can enter a corner too fast and
you can panic, hit the brake, all kinds
whatever,
of things.
but delaying your reaction times by even that, tenth of a second, quarter of a second is more than enough that your reaction is no longer where your bike was, just as far as your head's running.
Yeah.
You're gonna get in trouble.
If you watch MotoGP, right? Like these guys are like, they're professional athletes, but they're on A game. 100% of their attention is to riding. And you'll be amazed at how many accidents you'll see them avoid. Like where things will go wrong, where you think that guy's going to go down and eat it. He's dragging a knee and maybe he cut that corner too tight. His knee hits the grass, and at that speed, your knee hitting that grass, you'll get all kinds of wobbles. But you'll see those guys, they don't panic, and they'll just like ride out that wobble, regain control, get back on the throttle, and when you're inebriated, you're not going to be able to
No.
do those things as quickly as you need to.
Even if you're trained to a ridiculously high degree, say you are a racer and you're on a bike that you've spent thousands of miles on already, you're still not going to be able to react if you're inebriated.
Yeah.
So the way I always kind of look at when I'm riding, I heard a thing a while back called micromorts, and what it is they basically said how likely you are to die doing a thing.
Yeah.
It 100% guaranteed you were die if you like fly into the sun. Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
Do you know what
That's one
motorcycling?
more.
You know what motorcycling is directly equal to?
Canoeing.
Canoeing, also American football,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
so you can imagine if you were telling your buddies, "Hey, I'm going to go play a game of American football," nobody would be like, "Oh my God, Rusty, you're going to die."
No, they're gonna be like, hey, when's kickoff? I
Yeah.
want to be there.
Yeah.
So the thing that motorcycles are dangerous, yes, they are inherently slightly more dangerous than riding a car.
Yeah.
If you take all of the stupid people out of the statistic, they are still slightly more dangerous.
Yeah.
But I will take that danger factor for the freedom and the enjoyability I get from
Quick
riding a
mention,
bike.
the other thing that you can do to avoid a collision is to be more visible. And motorcycles are smaller than cars. People aren't as used to seeing them. And then there's also this weird thing too where you see things that you're really interested in, right? Your brain like automatically goes,
Yeah.
oh, hey, everybody knows that because if you've been thinking about buying a new car and you've really like started looking at like a Corvette or something else, you'll be like, man, I see Corvettes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody's not interested in motorcycles, their brain's going to filter it out. Our brains are very efficient like that. So wearing brighter stuff helps. Having more lights helps.
So I heard an interesting anecdote, and I have no idea how true it is. So have fun with that, internet. But they did a test of a guy in a blacked out leathers on a black bike, and he was doing X, Y, and Z, and 10 people saw him, right? And then they had a guy in bright neon yellow doing 10 things, and 4 people saw him or whatever. And then they had a guy who was in black and whites and kind of looked like a cop bike, and everyone saw him. So you're gonna see what your brain wants to see, which when you're riding a bike, you don't want that to be what everyone else is functioning on.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's true. So that comes back to
So you could add lights, daytime running lights. You can
daytime
add-
running lights. If
You can stay away from the really cool looking aftermarket tiny
one LED as your blinker is
Yeah.
not going to be something that people can see. You might as well just not have blinkers and use hand signals.
Yeah.
They're more likely to see it.
The other thing that you can do too is if you're riding along and you see somebody, it looks like they're going to make a right turn. You could use a little bit more of your lane and do a little bit of a wiggle waggle, and that little bit of motion like this
I am constantly
will
moving.
snap.
Yeah.
It'll snap people's brains out of it. Rusty and I both listen to music when we ride. We both have a propensity to dance on our bikes. It actually does make us a little bit more
Yeah.
safer because we're
I'm
moving a
constantly-
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. I'm
And
constantly moving.
that motion, because a motorcycle when it's coming at you, it's not the same as this. Right?
Yeah.
When this is coming at you, your brain's going to register it more.
Don't be like Bran. Slalom.
Yeah. Or I can't remember his name. It wasn't Bran. Bran was
Is Bran the Broken? Whatever. I did not watch the
other
movies. Anyways, the kid who got quivered. Yeah. So be as visible and take as many of those things that make it less dangerous as you can. And then
there's the dark side, okay? So the dark side is you might do all of those things and still catch a wreck.
yeah.
And it's I pray for sunshine, but I like to carry an umbrella.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that thing. So you might not be able to avoid something, and maybe that day you were just a little bit distracted despite your best efforts. You weren't as visible despite your best efforts. Whatever it is, you couldn't get over fast enough. It can happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can happen. And that's why you can take yourself out of the fatality statistic and into the collision I walked away statistic by wearing all the gear all the time.
Yeah.
So that means a helmet, right? And the more full face helmet you wear, the safer you are. If you're wearing a little half helmet, it's not covering a whole lot.
A brain bucket is just good enough that they can put your brain back in it before they, take your organs out for other people.
It makes a good scoop.
Yeah. So
at least a 3/4 helmet with the full face shield.
Short of anything in the like literally moving a bike out in the garage, I'm always in full gear. And like there's certain things that I'm looking for in my gear, even if I'm trying to run a little bit more urban like you do. I'm looking for full armor on my ankles. I'm looking for, pads and stuff so that, yes, I want a good slide, but I also, when that slide ends in a guardrail, I don't want to have 3 years of PT. I want 6 months of PT because, yeah, I sprained some stuff, but I didn't.
Or if you're lucky, none. I mean, so like these, they look like comfortable shoes you can walk around in. They're Style Martin, but they're armored motorcycling boots. And they are comfortable to walk around in. These pants are from Ugly Bros, and it's got knee armor, hip armor, and they're Kevlar lined. So, you want something that slides good, man. Just Google road rash. It's not pretty, and just a little bit of money, and you can avoid that. And you don't have to look like you're, walking off the MotoGP.
Yeah.
You can look like you're wearing more casual clothes. Leather slides really well. Get a leather jacket. They look cool.
They're classic.
Yeah, they're classic. Get one that you can put armor in, or you can wear armor underneath.
There's so many things you can do as far as staying safe in gear and still being comfortable. And then just as far as like the equipment you have on your bike, I always go everywhere with the first aid kit.
Yeah.
And because I've got huge bags, my first aid kit is really well decked out. But I also I have big bags because I go on long trips. If I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere, I want to be able to tie a sling.
The other thing is, despite the helmet, if you hit something with this helmet, you might not, get your skull cracked or whatever, but you could potentially lose consciousness. So if you have pre-existing medical conditions that first responders should know about, you should be wearing a bracelet that tells them that. If you're a hemophiliac, or if you're allergic to morphine, or
I don't know if I am. It's one of those things I got to find out. It's probably increasing that micromort every time I ride. But
so you want to just plan for a sunny day, carry an umbrella.
Yeah.
And
the motorcycle terminology for it is dress for the slide, not for the ride.
Right.
The flip side of that, slight caveat in the desert, is don't get heat stroke.
Yeah.
But dress for the slide and heat stroke.
Your full riding suit of not breathable leather for the track, and wearing that for a 45-minute ride in 110 degrees is also dangerous.
But just also have the wet shirt underneath. Dress appropriately.
Yeah.
Stay
hydrated.
We're saying. Yeah.
And the other thing that you might want to take into consideration too is making sure that your motorcycle is safe to ride. Make sure your brakes work. Make sure your turn signals work.
Do your T-clocks. If you don't know what T-clocks are, go take the class.
Take the class.
We sound like a broken record, and I've said that twice now. But
Make sure your tires are properly inflated.
I did that just today because I hadn't done it in 3 days, and I'm like, oh, I should probably do my T-clocks.
Yeah, make sure that you've got all your proper fluids are in good running order. There's you can take care of all the stuff here. You take care of all the stuff here.
Take care of it.
And you got to take everything care of on the bike as well.
You are going to spend a little bit more time with your motorcycle to ride a motorcycle on a regular basis and keep it safe.
And I think that concludes the video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit subscribe.
Ring that bell so you know when we have new videos coming out every week.
Yep. And we are also on Facebook. Right here. Bing. Squish.moto. We're on Instagram also. Squish.moto. We also have our own website. Squishmoto.com. where you can go buy baubles and trinkets, stickers, and the like, and support us and help us bring better and more videos to you.
Woo!
And with that, goodbye.
Peace.
You get busy bee! Go get busy bee!